Coming up, let's get back into the inbox.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
Hey guys, welcome along to another episode of Double Tap. Shaun Preece is back with me. How are you doing, Shaun?
I am fantastic. Thank you, Stephen. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited today because we're back into the inbox. And you know what? I think today, for the first time, the coffee is actually working.
Is it real coffee this time, not that mushroom rubbish?
Yeah, you know what? I gave up on that mushroom nonsense.
Well done, sir. You're a hero.
Lion's mane is supposed to be good for the brain. That's not a poem, by the way. I'm not trying to become some kind of poet around
Well
here.
done.
But it is said that it's extremely good for the brain. I'll tell you what it's good for. The guy who sells, or girl, sexist, who sells the lion's mane, it's good for their wallet. I'll tell you that. That's about all it's good for.
I'm sure it's healthy for you, though, Stephen Scott.
Is it, though?
No, probably not. Who cares? As long as you're on the real stuff again. Well done.
Proper cost, I was going to say...
Don't say no
I
brands.
really said a brand name there, which isn't an international brand, so probably wouldn't make any sense to most people anyway. But yes, my lovely coffee is here. I am all set. We've got the
High
inbox
energy.
full. I want to say, before we get into it, though, I want to say hi to Chris Cook, who got in touch with us via Mastodon. Good friend of the show, Chris. And, of course, you might remember Chris because she was on the show with us while we were at CSUN. She joined us for a couple of episodes, and we talked about Braille. We talked about all kinds of stuff. Well, Chris got in touch because she was listening to the Double Tap Extra podcast that we did, the geekiest one ever, the geekiest dollop you'll ever find on the internet.
I'm guessing you weren't a fan, Stephen Scott. I thought we were losing you in places on that one.
Losing? I was lost. All I was trying to do during the course of that episode was open a packet of Kit Kats quietly. That's really all I did during whatever that was. I will say, absolutely brilliant content, by the way. All thanks to you, Shaun Preece, and Tim Dixon and Callum Stoneman, who joined us. I mean, a round of applause for you guys, because it was an absolute triumph.
It was a bit of a geek out, a bit of a nerd fest, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with that now and again.
No, absolutely. And, it's made me think about a lot of different things, like, how to buy more Kit Kats and be ready for the next one, because I think, I didn't buy enough that time around. But no, it was very good. And Rachel got in touch as well on Mastodon to say she absolutely adored the episode. She said that she really enjoyed listening to it. She's going to test out Tail Scale, and she loved hearing about Pie Hole as well. I got hungry when I heard that. I thought, oh, pies.
I know. We definitely went off on a tangent. As soon as Callum mentioned Pie Hole, we just started talking about food. That's how nerdy we are.
I got instantly excited and depressed all at the same time, which is pretty much like my eating life as well.
Sorry, what did you say? What did Chris have to say? Did she like the episode?
Oh, she liked it. Yes, she didn't understand a word, but she absolutely loved it. I think she was with me in the Kit Kat parade.
Well, definitely check it out in your favourite podcast app. That's the Double Tap Extra feed.
I'm starting to notice a little trend here, and I think we should encourage people to share in this trend, because we heard the other day from someone who said that whilst they're listening to the show, they have a cocktail.
Oh yeah, in Miami, right? Yes.
Cali in Miami, that's right.
Yes.
Thank you, yes. Cali in Miami, which, did you remember that show? Was it WKRP in Cincinnati?
That's right.
That always makes me think of that. Just something aligns there, I don't know why. But yeah, Cali in Miami,
drinking
which is
cocktails.
a great name for a TV show. Cocktails in the afternoon. I've got to say, Cali, smart person. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Is it?
I think it's a good thing. I think on that episode we had gambling, alcohol. We had it all. Everything we're not supposed to talk about, we did. All we need to do is throw in some religion and politics, and we had the hat trick, quite frankly.
God bless you, Mr. F. So sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Mr. F.
He's on a whiskey break right now. Don't worry about it.
Actually, it does depend on what you're about to recommend as a suggested trend for our
listeners. What I'm
listeners.
going to say is, why don't you tell us what you're consuming? What's your sort of average consumption thing?
It's just the weirdest suggestion.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Clearly, I think I've gone over the scale with the coffee this time. I think I've
leave
gone too
that
far.
there.
Now, what are you having? Do you drink a certain drink? Do you have like a double tap dining experience?
There you go.
Do you have a hot dog?
Right.
Do you have a cocktail? Do you have a burger?
Back to the mushroom.
Do you try and find the off button?
Okay, well, let us know. Feedback at doubletaponair.com. What do you do whilst listening to Double Tap?
Because I
Apparently,
tell you,
Stephen's interested.
Because I am. And also, because I know you, for example, whenever there's an event coming up, like an Apple event or a Google event, you always tend to go for like a pizza or a Chinese meal.
Yes, always a takeaway meal. Yeah, it's a bit of a treat, but I've obviously, I've shied away from that a little bit. More of an apple now, a nice tasty apple as a treat. What's happened to us? You and your mushroom coffee and me with apples. We're a disgrace.
I was ridiculed the last time I brought up the mushroom coffee thing.
By me.
I'm awaiting more ridicule, to be perfectly honest. But yeah,
hang on a minute. Wait,
yes.
Before we dive into our amazing listeners,
I'm poised. The
missives.
button, my finger is on the button.
I can tell. I can feel it. I want to put a question out there because I am struggling, Stephen Scott, and while we're geeking out a little bit,
so boring.
Just have a Kit Kat and be quiet for a minute while I talk to our fellow nerds out there.
I don't need an excuse. I'll have one.
Here's what I'm trying to do. I have one hard drive on one laptop and another hard drive on another laptop. And what I want to do is mirror what's on one hard drive on the other one. Right? Simple. Should be easy. Yes, I could just, copy and, control, copy and paste and whatever. I want this to be done automatically, so it's always consistently the same. There should be some software out there to do that. Any recommendations? I have tried something called Free File Sync, an open source thing to do this. It's what all the guides recommend if you Google it. Not very accessible. In fact, I can't get it to work. So I'm looking for an accessible way to sync files across drives or folders. If anyone knows, let me know. Thank you.
I used to use one years ago called GoodSync, which was...
Oh, that was recommended as well. I never got around to trying that one.
I mean, listen, it was about 10-ish years ago.
Was it pre-screen reader days?
Well, for me, yes. But it was also... I used it, believe it or not, to sync with an FTP server back in the day.
Oh,
we had an FTP server. That's how we used to do Listen Again back in the old days on the radio. Because you'd have to get the file up, so we'd record the file using one program, and then you'd want to sync that file with the FTP site so that people could listen to it. Nowadays, of course, that's called a podcast.
Yes,
it's all changed. It's all changed nowadays. But it was quite challenging to get files onto the internet back in those days.
Listen to how excited you sound now. Listen to you. You're starting to geek out as well. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I did try, like I say, Free File Sync. Couldn't get it to work from a screen reader point of view. But there are a few, as you mentioned. There's also one called Sync Thing. I couldn't get that to work either. But
did I make that? That sounds like the kind of name I would come up with for it.
The Sync Dollop.
It's a sync thing. Yes, Sync Dollop.
Any help, greatly received. Thank you, amazing listeners.
And you're on Windows, so obviously you're looking for that. I'm looking for the same, by the way. I'm looking for exactly the same for the Mac because I want to do the same thing. I have but I think it's slightly different for you because you want to. I think I'm guessing anyway. You want to work on one machine and then be able to walk over to another machine, pick up where you left off. And the files are the same, right?
You know what?
Or is that about backup?
It's just for backup because I'm not using a cloud service anymore for my backup of my important files, basically this show. So I just wanted a drive for backup purposes. So it just makes sure it's always up to date. How I started this was trying to get all my laptops to be exactly identical, as in every single file on there. Could I find a way to do that? It's a lot harder than you think it should be. There's OneDrive, which makes sure the desktops are the same across the computers. It's not really what I want. I want exactly the same software at exactly the same versions, up to date. It's really difficult. I tried group policies and no, it didn't really work. So I've given up on that. I just want a way to back up or sync a folder or hard drive. Must be a way.
This is the problem I've faced over the years. You end up with, I've got two computers. I use my Mac and my PC, but I have an additional Mac, which I use for doing the show. And I've really just pushed back against that now. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. I want one machine to do it because it's not that it's harder when you're blind. I'm not going to go down that road, but it is. And also, you got to keep all these machines up to date. I mean, it's one thing with a Mac, obviously, things like, I don't have to worry about third-party screen readers, but if you have two PCs, for example, you've got to keep everything up to date. If you make a change, and even with the Mac, if you change a custom key shortcut, whatever you change for something, you think, well, hang on, I haven't done this over here. And you kind of want those things to sync. I mean, why? I've never understood on the Mac why the voiceover side of things, you can export voiceover preferences and you can then re-import them to another machine, so you can basically get back up and running the way you like. But why can't you sync that? And there is an option in iCloud for voiceover, but I don't know what it does because it doesn't take the settings across.
Oh, really? Yeah,
it's weird. In the list of and apps on the Mac, you can go through and there's voiceover. Okay, but what does it do? It doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't keep my settings across my account, which would be brilliant.
It's just I don't know how much of a problem it is with people jumping through different computers and
no, it's just us.
It's just us, so it's a major problem, obviously. But with the evolution of home networks, I think this is becoming more of a thing because we've all got so many devices connected now to our home networks and mesh routers and things like that. It's I think networking is getting more and more important.
Well, it is. And also there's another side of this, which is a lot of people either can't afford to or don't want to be syncing all their data into the cloud.
No, that's right.
Great privacy issue here. What happens if, a service goes down? I mean, there was a time when you worried about, I remember way back at the beginning when Dropbox was a thing. And it was like, as long as it's backed up on 4 continents, or is it 3? However many continents there are.
Yes.
As long as it's backed up on each of them, then we're fine. Because the only thing that can take us out is nuclear war. Well, everything's fine.
Okay,
I'm sure everything's fine. And by that point, you really don't care about the pictures of, going fishing once when you were 7.
Yeah. Do you know what? I nearly deleted all my back catalogue of photos that were on my hard disk the other day. Well, I thought, you know what? Sarah can't see them anymore. I can't see them anymore. Is there actually any point? And I've got like 1,000 pictures that just say img.jpg or DCIIM, and you think, am I ever going to actually go through these and get a description of them? But I couldn't bring myself to delete them for some reason.
Well, the kids? The kids might want them, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's like old pictures. We don't throw them away. Or have you?
Yeah. No, that's
straight
true.
down the junkyard.
I still got the old-fashioned photo album somewhere in the cupboard, so yeah, I suppose so.
I've just actually bought for my wife. I've bought a new photo printer. Now, this was hilarious. I had one, and I'd gone up into the loft.
Is it in the loft?
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. It would be in the loft, and I found half of it.
What do you mean?
I don't know what happened to the other half of it. I found like the case that covered the top part of it.
Oh.
And because it's like one of these little photo printers that does 6x4 photo images. And so, you can print them out and it's really nice. It's made by Canon. It's called a Selfie. And it's a nice little printer. But couldn't find the other half of it. So I thought, you know what, forget it. Okay, I'm just going to order a new one because this is
not the attitude
broken.
Steven's got.
Well, it's obviously broken. Something's happened to it. It's gone. I couldn't find it.
The bottom half's in the basement.
Well, I didn't go down there. So I ordered a new one and it's arrived and it's in a beautiful screaming pink.
Oh, nice.
Much to my wife's joy, although she frankly couldn't care less, but it's in pink. And then yesterday I had to go up in the loft to get something. Guess what? Found the other half of the printer. Can you believe it?
I knew you would. Yes, I can.
Found
absolutely.
the other half.
So you've got 2
so now I've got 2 of them. Yeah. Anyone needing a selfie?
Stephen's setting up a online photo printing business.
That's right. Just email me and I'll print your photos out. Can't wait. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice little printer. And it's funny because we're kind of going back to that thing of, we bought some nice picture frames. We got them etched with the names of the dogs in them so we could keep them on the fireplace.
Stop it.
Things like that. That's what we're kind of using them for. She loves all that.
Sarah's just put all these photo frames on the windowsills and on the... I hate them. I hate anything like that. Why? Why
you can't see them. You don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I can't see them.
Yeah, but she feels. But that doesn't matter.
And you knock them over all the time, and it's just.
Well, what are you doing? How are you knocking them over?
Well, because if you close the blinds or something, or I don't know, put a can of Coke on the windowsill, which I'm not meant to do.
Well, there's an idea. Don't do that.
What? They shouldn't have photo frames on there. Pointless chintz. I mean, it's rubbish. Who needs all that stuff? I'm into my minimalism.
Television, ornaments, furniture. Just get rid of it all.
Full of skulls as well. Skulls and dragons all over. It's
a couple of cushions on the floor. That's it. That's all you need, right?
All right. I like clean lines. That's all I'm saying. Why did we get onto this? Wow.
I think you are just becoming an old man.
Becoming?
And trust me, I know because I'm already there. Right, Lou, let's get on with this.
Yes.
We're here for a reason.
email.
Well,
We get email. We get your email every day.
Ding dong.
Here's your mail today.
Douche.
I was thinking about the demo that David did the other day. David Ward from
David's
the
demo?
Echo Tips Vision. What's it called, that podcast? It's very good, by the way.
Next Gen Vision, I believe, isn't it? Next Gen
Is
Vision.
it?
Yeah. And he also does the Echo Tips podcast. Oh my God, I've gone
We're
blank.
terrible people, aren't we?
Oh, it's very good anyway. Just search for
I tell
David
you,
Ward.
if you find it, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's on the internet. I promise you, it is on the internet. Just look hard enough and
Stevens
you'll find it.
FTP'd it. Yes.
I put it on an FTP site. www.148.
BBS. Bulletin board somewhere. Yes.
But I was thinking about the other day, that demo that he did. And he got AI he asked AI the question. It was the Echo he was asking, wasn't it? And he asked the question, I mean, I suppose it would be.
Yes.
He asked the question about, is it piano or xylophone on the email jingle? And it said, oh, not sure, but I love the cat playing the piano. And that way it kind of passed me by at that moment. But I'm thinking, how did it know that?
Well, we don't know. What did David send Lady A plus? Did he send a video?
He sent the newsletter. Now, unless in amongst that...
Did you mention it in the newsletter?
I don't know. I mean, you're really asking the wrong person around here. But, I'm absolutely certain it might have been in there.
Yeah. It was still impressive. Yeah, check it out if you didn't listen to that. John Dyer as well, giving a demo of Gemini on the Google,
that was brilliant.
Which was also really impressive.
Have you dug out your...
No,
Google
I didn't get a
stuff?
chance. No, I haven't.
I know, we're terrible people.
Yes, everyone knows that.
Listen, I want to get back to that topic, though, about Lady A+, as she's known. Kyler sent in a message following his own experience.
Hi guys, it's Kyler again. I was listening to today's episode of the show and I thought I should give you an update on the situation with Alexa Plus. I managed to hack my way in. A close family member has an Echo Show, so I jumped on their account. Here are my thoughts. I love the conversational aspect. The new voices are really amazing, though some people may need a little time to get used to them. It's definitely better than the 2023 version they demoed a while back. This one doesn't work off a voice command like let's chat, but instead when you get access, you're supposed to get an email. But ours just auto-enabled when I said notify me when Alexa Plus is available. This actually does have the ability to create routines by voice, play music and podcasts, and even check your Ring cameras, assuming you have a Ring Home subscription. For example, I was at church yesterday with the family and I had my Echo Buds with me, as I seem to find any excuse that I can to test something. When I asked Alexa on my earbuds if she could play Tuesday's Double Tap episode, this was Wednesday, she actually played the correct episode. Today I did another podcast playback test where I asked her to play today's episode rather than using the word latest, and she was able to perform the action and even gave me a summary of the episode when I asked for a follow-up. I haven't played around much with smart home control as I'm on my family's account and I don't care much about lights anyway, but what I did find is that she's absolutely amazing about providing camera event summaries, even on a device without a screen. When asked when the last time a camera saw something, she was able to give me an accurate timestamp, and when asked about package delivery, she either gives a record of when the camera last saw a package being delivered or cross-references your Amazon updates. Overall, the experience is quite good, and I'm still exploring what Alexa Plus can do. Unlike Let's Chat, which couldn't do much in the way of setting alarms or timers, playing music or controlling and checking smart home devices, this version seems to be doing a great job overall, although I do find it a bit silly that the ability to interrupt Alexa is still restricted to compatible Echo Show devices. Keep up the great work, guys, and don't lose hope. It seems like progress is finally being made since my last email. All the best, Kyler Golden.
Well, I appreciate you getting in touch with that, Kyler, because it is good to know what's going on with this feature on the ground, right? Because we're hearing, you said to me, it depends on what you watch, but if you see the YouTube reviews, they're not really digging in that way. They're kind of focusing on, the kind of answers that it's giving and, what it might be getting wrong. But this is telling us how it's integrating with other devices. And, a separate point, but those Echo Buds, I never really got on with them. And it was all because I had a really bad experience on the first day wearing them, which was I tried to take it out my ear. So it's kind of, but they're really big. And then what happens is they kind of squeeze into your ear. They've got a little squishy bit, right? So you push that into your ear and it's supposed to seal around your ear, which is fine. But the problem is I had turned noise cancelling on And I tried to take it out my ear, and it whistled so loud, I actually thought, I'm going to lose my hearing in this ear. And I never put them back in my ear again. I'm not going near that again.
It's so funny.
It terrified me.
This has come up again because a couple of days ago I was sorting through my tech drawer and I found the Echo Buds. I thought, I forgot all about these. I took them out and you think, these are massive. I look like a Cyberman if I put these in the side of my head. They are huge. But they are still pretty cool. The ability to have Lady A in your ears is actually quite nice. But yeah, I'm really excited by this, Kyler. I've got to say, the Let's Chat thing always seemed like a non-starter for me when they demoed that for the first time out. It's like, it's just like a skill. What's the point of that? But to be fair, it's evolved since then. And as you mentioned, that camera integration has got me really excited. That could be so useful, especially for us. And I'm just thinking, would this be enough for me to say, yeah, I'm going back to Ring cameras? Because I kind of think it would. If I could get a description. Now, I say that, but there's absolutely no reason why it should only be for Ring cameras. I've got the Blink cameras at my house, again, by Amazon. So why couldn't I use them? Or why couldn't you use any third-party camera? It shouldn't make a difference. But, we've seen this sort of arbitrary locking out of certain systems in ecosystems before, so it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, sounds very cool. I am getting more and more excited by Lady A+, I must say.
Yeah, they tend to talk about the Ring cameras like they're superior to the Blink. I don't know if they are in some ways. I mean, I having experience of yours, I think, they're fine. I mean, they're great. I mean, they do the same job. I mean, is it different in terms of the notifications you get? Like, do you still get motion detection and the ability to know if there's a person or a package at the door?
That's what you don't get. You don't get any AI features. So I just get, hey, there's motion at your shed camera or front door camera or, driveway camera. And there's motion at the front door from the Blink video doorbell. So you get that. It is very basic, but to be honest, that's all I ever need. I need to know if there's someone moving around out there, at 4 o'clock in the morning, or if someone's at my front door. So that's pretty much it. But yeah, I've got to say, being able to get a Ask AI, what's going on out there, is very tempting, right? That'd be desirable, I think.
And again, there's an example of something which is coming out of AI that you wouldn't necessarily attribute to accessibility right away. But, how many times have we been thinking, is someone at my front door? Is someone near my house? And being able to query that image and get that live response to say, oh, it's a fox, or it's a, because that really matters. If you're nervous in your home.
Oh, there's nothing worse than getting an alert at 2 a.m. when all your echoes start shouting, there's motion at your front door.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, what's that? And, the only thing we can do at the minute is to, listen. So you drop in for the live view and then you just listen out. But, at that time of night, you also hear everything. Every little rustle seems like, oh, no, there's someone out there.
That's right,
It can be scary. It absolutely can. So you just need that reassurance. Would you trust AI? Well, you'd have to give it a go and see, wouldn't you? But I think so. It's better than nothing.
Well, look, as we say all the time, it is improving all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the stories, and it may be the case by the time we go to air that this has come out, but there's talk of ChatGPT 5 coming out. What that means for us, I think at this stage, I don't really know. The rumors are that ChatGPT 5 will be much better at the whole hallucination thing. It's not. I don't mean it's going to be good at hallucinations. Yes. I mean it should stop doing hallucinations.
Number one at getting things wrong.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's going to improve on that and it will not be hallucinating quite as much. I mean, again, it depends. It depends, I think, also on what the questions you ask. Like I often talk about the fact, and it's a big issue around disability, there just isn't the data out there. So a lot of questions you might ask, it may have to hallucinate because there is no other way to bring up an answer.
There's also the answer of I don't know, which AI seems really reluctant to say.
It's interesting. I was listening to a conversation with Tristan Harris, who's from the Centre for Humane Research. He's the guy, you might remember, he was the guy behind the Netflix movie, The Social Dilemma.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also done a talk, which, I've mentioned it before. It is well worth listening to. It was a couple of years ago now, but it's still worth listening to, called The AI Dilemma. I was kind of expecting there to be a follow-up documentary on this, and there may well be, but I think in some ways it's too late because he was trying to make the point at that time. We have got to learn the lessons from social media, the challenges that social media has put on the world. the anxiety, the vision that it's sown with people. All this has come from social media. I mean, you could probably lay a lot of, not all the problems of today's world, certainly not.
What?
But you could put a lot of them at the door of social media, I think.
I don't know about that.
I think two places, actually. I'd put it at the door of social media and smartphones. I would say both of those together. The phone gave people the chance to be horrible people. People want to be horrible people.
And good
Being
people.
behind a smartphone absolutely gave them that right to do it. And social media just amplified that. It just accelerated that.
I think social media has had a massive impact on society that people weren't expecting. Now, whether that's good or bad, that's up for debate.
I think it started off good.
I don't
know if it's I don't know if it's continued that way. I saw a headline this morning. It was social media no longer sociable. And I think there's some truth to that. I think that it's a great question, actually, because it does raise the issue around what is social media. I mean, I was talking to someone just the other week. They were advising me on how to, get the show's, what our story out there and what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it was like, here's how you want to write this, and here's how you want to present it. And I'm just like, well, how do I just write something? No. You see, you have to pose it this way, and you have to write it this way.
It's got to fit into this
really
algorithmic.
And I've got to use 50,000 emojis to make it pop, and I've got to use hashtag. I'm sorry, that's not how real people speak. So suddenly everything becomes very false. So that's a corporate point of view, right? That's a business perspective. It's like, how do I sound? And that's what. And look, my whole life on social media. If you can find anything I've said on social media that you don't like, well, okay, you might, I'm sure, but it's also unlikely you're going to find anything particularly offensive. Like you hear these people who say, oh, they put out tweets 10 years ago that were really nasty. I learned very quickly that what you say in public matters.
Oh, yeah.
And so
absolutely.
I didn't do, and I don't have those thoughts anyway, but I'm not going to post something like that, a 3 a.m. thought every time.
You're censoring yourself online, Stephen Scott.
I'm careful about what I put out, yeah. I always have been. I mean, look, for a lot of reasons. I had a reputation.
Some people will say that's a bad thing. Why are you censoring yourself?
But then the other side of the coin is I grew up in a world where I didn't need to share my every single waking thought. I saw a great joke from a comedian the other day who he said, you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you pick up your phone, and then suddenly you've been asked a question. Ask to comment on some complex, massive issue that you're just being asked to give your view on. So you do, and then basically the entire internet comes along and tells you to get lost.
Yeah, who cares what you think?
Yeah. and that's basically what the internet's become. That's
Yeah.
what social media has become, I should say. It is challenging.
Everything becomes very judgmental because everyone is watching everyone else. So
it comes back to the question, which I do want to dig into at some point, but I do want to ask this question, and maybe it's for further debate down the line, but I do worry sometimes with AI. I'm not against AI, and I see some strange comments about this online. I see people say, some disabled people are dead against it and it's terrible, and we should absolutely welcome it with open arms. This is a fantastic thing. And then other people say it's the worst thing ever. And, of course you're going to have all these different sides of it. But I do wonder, I do sit here sometimes and think, what, is this something which, essentially is going to harm society in some way or another? And yes, disabled people will find benefits in it. I'm talking about AI here. But do those benefits outweigh the negatives?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we know the answer to this today. I don't think we will. We'll know the answer in 10 years' time when it's too late. No one's got a job anymore. The robots are doing it all. And, we're all sitting here thinking, okay, that's cool. I can now read a menu in a restaurant, but I also don't need one because my robot can go and get my meal from the restaurant for me.
Well, it's going to change everything, obviously, but then arguably every sort of major technology always has its negatives and positives, right? You could argue that about the combustion engine,
I don't know if you can make that argument about AI. I don't think that argument stands anymore because it's not something that affects a sector or a group of people or a specific area. It affects everybody. This is going to impact every single person. They're saying that any job, basically, if you want to know what jobs will be around in 5 years. They're saying the way to look at it is this. If your job requires you to do something repetitively per day, you're out of a job.
Yeah.
If you do manual labor when robotics gets up and running, and it already is, let's be honest, you're out of a job. Robots will build their own homes, their own factories,
they have done for decades in the car plants and other manufacturing
And when you inject AI into that, when you inject the intelligence to say not only you're doing this particular task, but you can also go over here and do the books and do the accounting
yes.
and also deal with the, and essentially, deal with all of the factors involved. Who's needed? Who will be required? I mean, the only thing I'm holding on to is my stupidity because that's all I've got left.
Oh, well done. You're very good at it too.
I've got a niche. I can hold on to my job.
Can you put the genie back in the bottle? I mean, we say all this, and then we hear about the European Code of Ethics for AI that Meta are refusing to sign up for, and I'm going, that means I can't get live AI on my Meta.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly what I'm getting at. So you're looking at the benefit of the live AI for you.
Yes.
Which is totally right.
Selfish, yeah.
Well, it's not selfish.
Well,
it's
it is absolutely selfish.
Well, okay, there's selfishness in everything we do, right? I mean, even kind people are selfish. I mean, don't get me started on that. But, selfishness is everywhere, right? So don't worry about that. What I'm thinking about, though, is, we're looking at the benefits outweighing here. So what is that, can you correlate the two? Can you say, okay, do you know what? I can square that circle in my mind.
Yeesh, I don't think you can.
And as for genie in the bottle, I think we're too late on that. That's that's gone. I mean, the AI is getting to a point where, and you got to read into this stuff. It's so interesting. Tristan Harris talked about it on Bill Maher's show the other day, and it was so interesting when he talked about how when they were developing new models and they were telling the AI that they were going to implement a new model, that the AI was actually starting to rebel against. So for example, in one company's situation, an AI model was being told it was being, and it found out, by the way, it was being replaced with a new model through the email that it was obviously tracking, right? And it started blackmailing the boss. It knew the boss was sleeping with the secretary or whatever, and started emailing the boss saying, by the way,
that may not have happened, just in case.
This happened. Look it up. This happened.
Did blackmail, but we say we don't know what it was blackmailing about.
Yeah, but that's kind of what it was blackmailing about, right?
Up, yes.
But the point is, that's telling of where things are going. That's telling of how this. I'm not saying this thing has got a brain of its own and it can go off and do things entirely by itself.
It's sentient.
I don't know if we're there yet, but it certainly looks like it's heading in that direction. It might be that someone said it's like 1993 when the World Wide Web came along, and everyone was like, "Wow, this is amazing. What is this thing?" And we all said the same thing in 1993. Like, okay, but I remember thinking it. What would I use this for? What do I care? I know there's a lot of blind people out there who are on the internet way back, right? Who were like, using message boards and all this kind of stuff and really into it. I wasn't one of those people. I had no idea what the internet was going to do for me. I never imagined in my world what it was going to do. Think back then to what we were thinking about the internet then and look at how that has consumed our lives. We would never have imagined, even then, the idea of using a phone, something as small as a smartphone, that leads and runs our every part of our lives, that almost becomes something we're so dependent on.
Yeah, but would you say
when it goes off, we can't do anything?
The world would be a better place without the internet?
What I would say is I don't think the world was a particularly bad place before the internet. That would be my view on it. Whether it's better, that's very much subjective to the individual.
Yeah, how do you weigh up the pros and cons?
It's an interesting discussion, though.
We've gone metaphysical here. This is strange.
Have I? Goodness me. I better plug myself in. Right, I'm running out of charge. Okay, coming up next, we're going to get back into your emails. Plenty more to come.
This is Double Tap. We'll be right back.
Double Tap thanks Pneuma Solutions for supporting this podcast and for their continued commitment to digital accessibility. Pneuma Solutions is behind some of the most powerful accessibility tools out there, all designed by blind developers who understand the real-world challenges of inaccessible tech. Whether it's Remote Incident Manager or RIM, which lets you give or receive fully accessible remote tech support across PC and Mac, or Scribe, which turns inaccessible meeting documents into screen reader-friendly files instantly, Pneuma is solving real problems with smart, usable tools. They're not just building the products, they're building independence to go along with them. At Pneuma, they believe access to information is a right, not a privilege, and that is why we're excited to celebrate our partnership with a special offer just for the Double Tap community. Use code DT20 for $20 off any new purchase or the first billing cycle of a subscription. And they're giving away 10 free community support subscriptions for Remote Incident Manager and 10 Scribe for Documents subscriptions as well. You can experience seamless tech support and real-time document remediation completely accessibly. Subscribe to our newsletter at doubletaponair.com/subscribe for your chance to win and stay up to date with everything they're working on.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback at doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
Okay, let's get back into the emails. And Alexandra wants to talk about Lady A Plus as well.
Hello, Double Tap. I wanted to mention about Alexa Plus and regarding it only being on the Echo shows. So Amazon had mentioned indeed that they would be applying it to the audio devices at a later date. So I currently got the email telling me I have access to Alexa Plus, and I don't have any of the Echo shows. All I have are the dots and a Fire Stick. But I had enrolled to be notified a while back, so people that want to try it out, what I would say is to tell Alexa to be enrolled or go to their website and apply for the waiting list. Yes, it has some issues. However, based on the little hands-on, I think it's an okay service. I have seen I can switch from it to the old version for moments when something doesn't work. Also, you have to have your language set to English, as for now, that is the language which works in, which I find annoying, as I like having a multi-language option chosen. Alexandra Morales.
Thanks, Alexandra. Appreciate the comment.
It's really strange that about it being English language only, right? Because AI is so incredible about speaking multi-languages and translating, and yet it seems to be, no, it's got to be in English. Well, why? That seems like the first hurdle when it comes to different languages that they sort of crush straight away when it comes to AI. Mine's forever talking to me in Welsh for some reason because of my accent. It thinks I'm Welsh. I don't know. Either that or I just mumble a lot. But yeah, that is kind of annoying. And when it comes to the only available on the Echo show, that was a real strange way to sort of launch, if you can call it a launch, the Lady A Plus. But because pretty soon after that, we're saying, well, how would that work? Why is it only on the shows? Is it because it needs a camera? And they came back and said, well, no, it's also coming out eventually for the audio only devices. So it does. But it did cause a lot of confusion, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just said it. I mean, maybe they didn't want a lot of people thinking they could access it easily at the beginning. They wanted a slower rollout, and the shows probably are less popular than the other ones.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I hate the shows, by the way. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I don't like them either, to be honest. I don't see the point.
Keep giving them a try, thinking, that'll be fine. And it's like, no, they're just not as good.
Let's move on to Frank.
Hi all. First, Shaun, I hope you're feeling better.
I am.
I have tried to find Innosearch.com, but all I get is that the domain is for sale. Am I doing something wrong? Your talk with David Williams was fascinating and very informative, and I agree that more blind people should be in at the head of organisations for the blind. That is, if they qualified. But getting those qualifications can be a lot of hard work and banging of non-blind people's heads together. It would be good if we in the UK had a setup like the States for large organisations to get together as one voice, as the NFB and CAB. Regards, Frank.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. ACB, of course, and NFB are very different organisations to what we see elsewhere in the world, and something I wish was recognised more. But I've got to say, I've seen example after example, and I could tell you stories that would that would chill you, frankly, from people who ran large organisations, attending the NFB convention for one, and being horrified at what they were seeing. Not inspired, but horrified.
Why?
What are these blind people doing, trying to run things by themselves? Because I guess those people were thinking, well, I'm sighted, that means I'm out of a job. Yeah, that's kind of what it means. Yeah, that's kind of exactly what it means. What, you don't have any other organisations to run? There's nothing else you could go and do? No. But we'd quite like to run ours, Is that okay with you? No. Okay. Never understood that.
I don't even know I can't even comprehend that. And why don't we see things like the NFB and ACB replicated? As in from a sort of almost, it's blind, let's say blind powered. Why is that? Why don't you see that as much?
Can I be honest? I think it's culture. I think it's a big cultural issue.
Well, yeah,
but it goes beyond the organisation itself and its legacy of those organisations. The charitable model that we've had in the UK, and I know exists in other parts of the world as well, meant that organisations did stuff for blind people. And the blind people just sat, we sat with our begging bowls and said, "Thank you, please."
Yeah, but don't you
that's
think
great.
that's changed? I can feel a change in our own community when it comes to the amount of voices you hear out there now. And maybe that's thanks to social media and YouTube and things like that. But there's some amazingly strong, motivational speakers or just people in the blind community that sound, well, they're so optimistic and they're so out there, so forthright. I think, that I would be ideal for these sort of organisations. So why is that? Why are we still sort of, I don't know, behind the door when it comes to these organisations? Aren't we doing it for ourselves?
Yeah, but the organisations have to foster that, right? And they're not. So, they're not fostering a community. And that's ultimately what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about building a place where people can come. But again, you're right. There are influencers out there. There are lots of voices that we see. I mean, I'm on my Facebook feed sometimes, and I think all these people now coming through who are, blind influencers, you might call them.
Yeah.
And there's more and more. Now, they are often talking to the sighted community.
Yes,
right?
They are. Yeah.
They are. Let's be honest. That's what they're doing. They're trying to educate the sighted community, and that's no bad thing. I don't know if they would necessarily be the people they would want to be involved in this kind of thing. I don't know. I can't speak for them. But what I know is that, it takes organizations to want it. And also remember that those people on there, there may be a lot of voices. It's still a tiny fraction of the number of people out there who are blind or low vision, who don't either feel a sense of community or don't feel there's a place. And also perhaps are stuck in that legacy thinking of, blind people or charities will do this for me and should do it for me. I think there's a lot of that still out there. And that's something that will only change in time. It only changes in time. And I often, someone said to me the other day, they were asking me this question about, blind leadership and, blind people being in charge. And they said to me, how do you think this will change? What will it take to change this mindset? And I said, the only answer to that is time. That's the answer. There's no other way to think about it because nothing currently is working particularly well. It's going to take some amount of time and some amount of push by us. I don't know how I push this. I mean, I think about myself in the position I'm in. I think, how could I push this forward? The answer is not for me to go and apply to be the CEO of a blindness organisation because, first off, just as Frank said there, and many others would say, you got to be qualified.
Yes.
So for me to get that job would be ridiculous. Look, would I be a strong advocate? Would I stand up? Would I shout? Yes, I'd do all those things. Would I be the right person to lead an organisation of thousands of people? I don't think so. I don't think that's the right approach, and I don't think it's the right way to do it. Although, the flip side of that argument is, has anyone really achieved this excellence that we talk about that seems to be demanded of people like me going into that role? So it's like, I would have all the eyes on me saying, well, he's going to be terrible at this because he's no skills, no knowledge, no nothing. Yeah, equally, I look back at the history of this 150-year-old organisation in the UK and I think, okay, but since the beginning, they did great things. And then, more recently, it seems that they're doing less and less and less. And the focus seems to be less on services and more on, I don't know, signposting or whatever it is they do. Mm-hmm. So is that the right approach? I mean, look, clearly someone's making a decision to do these things. Is that the right approach? I don't think it is. I think it's about building community. I would love to see an organisation in the UK that actually, and Canada as well, and Canada I think is closer. I mean, look, you know in Canada better than I do, but for me, where I'm sitting, it seems there's a lot more opportunities for especially younger people to come together. That's the beginning of it, right? That's brilliant. Obviously, we all know that you're more likely to lose sight later in life, so you've got to factor that in as well. But I think it starts with bringing people together, and it starts with telling people rather strongly, you have a voice. I mean, I've been shouting about it on this show for years. You all have a voice. You all have your own voice. We can stand up and we can say what we want. You don't have to follow a leader.
Blind pride. Look, again, it comes back to the question of what the aim of these organisations are. Is it to build a community because isolation is a huge problem with us, and and getting together we can see what the problems are and sort of see what the way forward, or is it to bring to task companies and organisations when it comes to accessibility?
I think it can do all those things.
And education. Yeah, I agree.
I think it should be doing all that. I think it should be, what should it excel in is education, early years, and adult education. It really has to, there has to be a place for excellence in that. And what that's about is training, is teaching, is helping the qualified teachers of visual impairment have a place to begin, have a standard. I'm sure there already is a standard of qualification, but, fostering that, pushing that forward, driving that conversation about where it's going, bringing those people together so that, they can make education better. Having a center of excellence in Braille, in technology, in all kinds of things, anything you could think of, but, build these centers of excellence, these places. And I mean, I'm not talking about physical buildings necessarily. I'm just talking about building essentially a concept where you start to bring people in. And, it's about, because look, I think also, look, we have to be honest here. These organizations also need to focus on what their core is, and that is blind people. Because if you get it right for blind people, you'll get it right for everyone else. I think that, I'm not one of these people who says you can't be for, because I know there's a lot of talk out there around the issues around the language used in organizations who take away the word blind. A lot of people don't like that. It's as if, to their mind, it's a case of, well, people don't, it's like you're hiding the word blind away. So your organization is called Sight something or Vision something. And people don't like that. I push back against that. And I push back against that because in my view, as someone who spent the majority of their life low vision, I would never have gone near an organization with the word blind in the title. And trust me, there is one I worked for 15 years. Now, working for it is very different to actually going for services to it, which before I worked there, I wouldn't have done because I wasn't one of those people in my mind. I wasn't blind.
But do you really think that a change of name, if they dropped the word blind, you would have gone to it? Isn't that more just your acceptance of your disability anyway?
It's part of that, but it's also about what they offer. Okay? So it's not just about saying you are sight this, vision that. That's not going to do anything. No. It doesn't change anything. Like I've said a million times, words don't change anything, right? Actions change things. So it's what the organizations do that matters. So if you have early years education, programs for young people with low vision, education around partial sight, the challenges of, learning a screen reader or using simple as this, right? If you even just broke it down to this, that, you had a class for people who were low vision who wanted to learn how to use Zoom text versus a group of people who want to use JAWS, right? Break it down in that way. You're basically being inclusive to everyone in the sight loss world / blind world, okay? Mm-hmm. That's how you need to do it. That's where we need to be. And I don't see any of that. I think, where would I go today? Where would I go today to learn how to use a screen reader? Where would I go?
Yeah. I honestly don't know the answer.
As a 40-something-year-old man, can't remember actually. That's why I'm not saying it. It's not because I'm being coy about it. This isn't a diva thing. It's just I can't remember.
Let's just say 50.
Where would I go? Tell me where I go right now in the UK. Where is that place? Where would I go to learn how to use a Braille display? Where would I go to use a smartphone other than Apple Store? Where would I go?
Do you know what, though? It's so important, that initial contact as well, because I always remember reaching out. I think the first place I reached out was like the adult care or social services, And that first contact that I got was, well, I can give you a level liquid indicator and I don't really know. And it was sort of non-committal. And I just gave up for years after that as well. Because you just think there's just nothing out there. You are stuck, basically, right? But it's not until you meet that person, and I find that usually it is someone in the same or similar situation. It's not until you meet that person who's you connect with and show you how things can be done that it makes a difference.
But that's hard, right? I mean, that is hard as well. It's hard to get into that room. I hear a lot of these groups that turn up, and I know that's a thing. And look, I know that in the UK, RNIB does have a lot of groups that get together around the country. They have different events and stuff. It's fine, but would I go along to that? Like a general, if you said to me, come along, we're just going to meet a bunch of blind people. Probably not. Because I don't know we've all got very different tastes. We're not, again, this idea that we're all just one thing, right? We all just like the same things. We're all going to talk about listening to Radio 4. That's, okay, it's fine, but it's not really going to catch on with a
No,
lot of
but
people.
that comes down to the activity, because people who go to it, if it's bowling or something, it's because the people enjoy bowling who happen to be blind, or, going to the pub, going for a meal, going for a walk, a ramble, a hike, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and all that stuff goes on. Yeah, that all goes on. But I'm like, okay, but still, no one's answered my question. Where do I go to use this Braille display? And it cannot be just some off-chance meeting with a blind person at a pub to say, oh, I've got my Braille display here, I'll show you how it works. I'm not looking for that. I want something. I want more. I want, I want to be professional in my life. I want to be able to do professional things. I want to know how to use a screen reader properly to be efficient.
Well,
I feel if I'm in the States, I'm going to get lots of choices there by local organizations, by national organizations. Where is it here?
Teaching of technology and tech skills is so incredibly important. That's why I think most of the sight loss organizations put such great investment into the technology side.
Sorry, are you saying that with a smile on your lips? Because, I was going to say, where is this investment that I'm hearing about? Where is this money? Where are these places? I've said this how many
Never
times
mind
have I
money, just
talked about
other
this?
resources, as in the ability for putting volunteers together to teach people tech.
Volunteers? I mean, it's like pay people, for God's sake.
No,
pay
they won't
people
do.
money. This is a qualification. This is something that's important. Yeah, and look, I'm sorry, I've seen the other side of this. I've seen the good and the bad of this. I've seen volunteers who are absolutely wonderful, who bend over backwards to help people, who do everything they can. And then I remember standing, and I won't say where, but I was standing in a store, let's say, which sold products for blind people. And it was a volunteer who was helping out, giving the worst possible advice to this blind person and being quite sharp about it, to the point where I had to step in. Because I thought this person is not getting the advice. I also did this, by the way, in a huge big box store like Best Buy in the UK. It was called Curry's at the time. And I remember someone was buying a laptop for their son and was being sold the most expensive laptop in the store. And I'm like, hang on. What's this kid doing?
You're like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory.
I just couldn't hold myself back, honestly. The mum and dad were like, he's just going to be doing, he's doing an English literature degree thing, whatever, some very fancy thing at college or uni or whatever. And I said, he doesn't need the most expensive machine in the shop. That thing there will do him.
That kid now hates you, right? Because he wanted to game on it.
I'm sure he did, yeah.
Yeah, and you got him
not my watch.
A Chromebook or a Mac.
I'll tell you who hated me, the guy in the store who was sick of it by the end. In fact, I'll tell you, leaving that store, no joke, I was offered a job. And I was leaving the store. They said, do you want to work here? And I said, no, thank you. Not with these people. They know nothing. I'd have to spend all day educating all these staff. They knew nothing. And to be fair to them, they were probably just told, sell that thing over there because that's your job, sell that. But I just couldn't do that with any consciousness. That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so anyway, I was in this shop and the person is advising. And so I had to step in. And I'm like, you're giving all the wrong information. And it was just like, this is why we need qualified people in roles. It's not appropriate, I think.
Well, that comes down to the manager of that particular volunteer or that.
Oh, I spoke to them as well, don't worry.
Yeah.
And, I said, look, you've got to make sure these people have been trained. No, of course they weren't. No one in that situation
They wouldn't know
was
it was
blind.
bad information then, mate.
Well, that's kind of at the heart of the problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow, we went off on one there, didn't we?
Oh, I feel better after that.
Good. I can't
Or
remember.
do I? I don't know.
remember what the email even was now. It seems so long ago.
I'll tell you, actually, we should pick up on something else that Frank said there about Innosearch.
Yes.
So, Frank,
Innosearch.
you did mention Innosearch.com. It's actually, because I did check this, it's Innosearch.ai. If you go to .com, you're absolutely right. It comes up as they should buy that, actually.
They should
advise that. They should probably get that address. But Innosearch probably be bought by the time this show is gone.
I'm buying it right now.
I'm buying it and selling it to them. But no, actually, you can buy it. I would have no idea what to do. But yeah, Innosearch.ai is where you'll find it. So that's why you're struggling to find it.
And how are you
Frank.
spelling Innosearch?
INNO search.
Thank you. INNOSEARCH.AI.
We are going to be talking to those guys because I mentioned the other day about this co-browse AI they've brought out, which I don't fully understand. So we're going to get a bit of detail on that. Patrick Long's going to join us in a couple of days' time. I think we should ask him the question that is desperately requiring asked, and I'm surprised at myself for not asking it.
Oh,
why is it called Innosearch?
Oh God, that's a really good point. I never even thought of Innosearch.
What does
Inno
it mean? Yeah, Inno. I mean, I don't get it. Is there something I'm missing? I mean, absolutely guaranteed that's the case. But what is it?
Okay. Well, we will find out. Stay tuned.
That's the kind of stuff that you want to hear.
Feels like we should have asked this when we first started talking about Innosearch.
Quick one before we go.
Hello, David from the outback of Hampshire. Shaun, I also bought the Eufy 50 in the Prime sale. I paid £90, which is the only reason for the purchase, really.
Yes.
I thought you would enjoy my experience so far. I managed to connect it fairly easily despite the app being rubbish. I use it with Alexa, can start and stop this way, and sometimes it even finds its way back home to charge. Now, I will just point out that I live in a small bungalow with a walk-in shower or wet room, and yes, I had showered that morning, so I am sure you can guess where I found it. In the corner of the shower room. After shaking all the water out of it I could, I put it in the airing cupboard for 2 days, just took it out, and it works.
Hey!
And WhatsApp. Can you please help me contact you this way? I found the number on your website, but when I copied and pasted it into the search box in WhatsApp, it could not find you. I realise I must be doing something as daft as showering with a RoboVac. Thanks, Dave.
I can't help you with showering with a vacuum cleaner, but what I can say is you do have to add us as a contact. It has to be a contact in your phone or within WhatsApp. Either or will do. Once you've added the number, so just create a new contact, call it double tap or whatever, and then put that number in, then you will be able to send us a message. So hopefully that helps.
Perfect. And thank you for the info on the G50. Yeah, I must admit, I'm not enjoying the G50. I'm enjoying the price, right? What do you expect for whatever it was, that sort of price point? But the app just really annoys me, as a inaccessible app always does anyway. But yeah, it's okay. Mine gets lost a lot. So yeah, you get what you paid for, I guess.
It's funny. I remember the very first one I ever tried would be well over 12 years ago. And, it seems the same problems exist. Inaccessible apps. And they just die. They just fall. They just run out of battery as they're moving around. It seems
but
like they
why
haven't
is
improved
that?
much.
I mean, I'm assuming because I haven't used one that's got this really detailed mapping. Go off and clean the living room, and it'll trundle off from wherever it's sleeping, and find the living room directly. Mine, all the ones that I've had, just bump off the walls, much like myself, until they cover everything, and sometimes they'll find their way back. But I mean, the more expensive models map your house, right? So it should be perfect.
We'll talk about this in more detail with Robo Rock, because we're hearing from that company next week. So yeah, we'll talk more about that then. But we're back tomorrow with plenty more of your emails. So join us for that then. And Shaun, thank you as always.
Thank you. Bye-bye.